Hello guys, this is Jacko from MuddyTigerOutdoors. I hope everybody's having a great day today. Today we're going to do a video about ferro rods or ferrocerium rods or fire steel. And this is a topic that I find very interesting. I like making fires. I like having the ability of produce or create a fire with different methods. And of course, if you're into the outdoors, if you're into hiking, exploring, and doing bushcraft or whatever it is that you do outside, I think it's a very important thing to know how to make a fire in many different ways. Because not always you're going to have a lighter, or if you have a lighter, your lighter can get lost, it can get wet, and there are many ways to make a fire. But one of the easiest ways to make a fire nowadays is with a ferro rod or a fire steel. And you can find these in a lot of different places, a lot of sports in outdoors stores or on the internet. And today we're going to talk about three ferro rods that I have used in the past and that I find very effective. A ferro rod, it's a very simple thing. It doesn't have any complicated things that need to happen. It's just basically scrape and you'll shoot a spark. So before we get into detail, before we start talking about the ones that I have today to show you, I'm gonna just kind of read off the internet what a ferrocerium rod is. Excuse the reading. I've just barely graduated from 3rd grade. Ferrocerium is a man-made metallic material that gives off hot sparks at temperatures of 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. When scraped against a rough surface, such as rich steel, it produces a really hot spark, and you can just shoot that to be caught in whatever material you have available or ready to make your fire. Because of this property, it is used in many applications, such as clockwork toys, strikers for gas welding, and cutting torches. So it's called flint and steel. Basically, this has been used for many years. Thousands, millions, who knows? In different shapes and forms. Basically, a flint or quartz, can be used for the same purposes in the same way. You just hit it with steel, and it'll shoot a spark. It is also commonly called ferro or ferro rod, and most commonly of all, flint. Now, I started getting curious as to what makes a ferro rod or a ferrocerium rod, and I found different things, different compositions, different percentages, and that kind of leads me to believe that different makers of ferro rods, they put different percentages of metals and whatever they put in there. Now, what I kind of found out is that it definitely has to have about 50% serum, or cerium, however you pronounce that, 25% lanthanum, and small amounts of, here we go with the fancy words, praseodymium and neodymium. And excuse me if I mispronounce this, I don't quite know metals or stuff like that. And it also has to have a small amount of iron and magnesium. And I'm thinking magnesium is one of those components that catch a spark or can catch or produce fire. They ignite. It's an ignitable material. And once again, the percentages of these can vary from rod to rod. Anyway, now that we got that out of the way, I'm going to show you three of them that I like. And this is the one that I bought the first, or my first ferro rod. And this is basically a magnesium bar with a very small rod right here. Now, the way this works, you just scrape off magnesium with your knife or with whatever you have available. It does come with this section of, it's basically a saw. And it's serrated in one side. So you can scrape the magnesium with this side, and then once you form a little pile, then you scrape or spark your ferro rod, and it'll catch it on the magnesium, and it's a very effective way to produce a fire or start your fire. I like this. It's served me well. It's been used several times. The only problem with this is that you have to be patient, very, very patient, because it takes a while to make that little pile of magnesium. And you know, when you're hot, when you're tired, when you're frustrated, you know, it tends to frustrate you even more. But better to have this than not to have this, for sure. At least if you're going to be out there in the wild. Now the second one, oh by the way, the first one is made by Coleman. Coleman, you know, manufacturer for decades for, you know, outdoors items. Now the second one, this one is made by Red River Mountain, I believe. The logo is kind of scraped off. This is a very, very good rod. It's a decent size. This one came with a smaller lanyard or smaller cordage, and you know, I didn't feel like it was long enough for me to be able to strike it. This one comes as well with a piece or a section of saw. So, you know, one side is serrated. I don't use the serrated side to scrape off the ferro rod, as it tends to leave, you know, uneven marks. I just kind of scrape it with the flat side, and you know, it shoots very, very decent sparks. I mean, it's very easy to hold. The handle is very comfortable. It's a pretty decent size. Now, the only problem with this one, and I don't know if you can see it right here, I put some epoxy. And you know, after using it a few times, all of a sudden the rod came off the handle. And you know, I tried to glue it the first time with Gorilla Glue. It didn't stay. The second time I opted for epoxy, a very strong epoxy. So you know, it's now staying in place. It was just kind of a downside to all of a sudden have it fail on you, but I guess that's just the way it is sometimes out there. Very good rod. I've used this multiple times. It shoots very, very good sparks. Now the third one, and this is my favorite, this is the one that I've used in my last couple of fires. This is made by Light My Fire, and I believe it's a excuse me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's a Swedish company. This is a very good rod. This is they have this available in several models. This is the Army model, which is I think the slightly bigger rod. They have a couple of smaller versions. It has an excellent striker. I mean, this is, you know, the little handle right there. It is very, very comfortable, and it goes right on your thumb. You hold it very naturally. The length of the lanyard or the cordage is just perfect for you to strike it. I mean, you don't need any more, you don't need any less. You know, it's very comfortable to grip also on the rod side. And I don't know if it's me, but it seems to be throwing hotter and more sparks than the other two that I just showed you. It might be once again the percentages of whatever different materials they make this with, but yeah, it's a very good ferro rod. Now the interesting thing about this one is that the striker also has a whistle in it. So you know, it's one of those tools that it's you know, a double or a multi-tool. You know, you have your ferro rod and your emergency whistle all in one. So you know, it's a very nice product. Of course, you know, it's bright orange, so you don't, you know, if you set it down on the ground while you're making your fire and you're trying to rush, or if you just kind of, you know, put it aside and forget about it, you'll still be able to find this one because it is a bright colored you know, plastic. So definitely very well thought. Anyway guys, that's it for now. I just kind of wanted to show you what I use and you know, sort of my experience that I've had with these great tools to use out there. Obviously none of these are going to work the way they're supposed to if you don't prepare before your fire. You know, there's a lot of preparation, there's a lot of patience that you have to have when making a fire without a lighter or without matches. So make sure you prepare before making a fire. I'll probably have a video coming up of, you know, step by step making a fire with these or with whatever other methods I like to use. Well guys, like always, I thank you and I really appreciate you watching. I appreciate the likes. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Muddy Tiger Outdoors. And if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.